In the early 2000s, competitive gaming in India was largely confined to cramped internet cafes. It existed as a hyper-localized underground subculture where small groups of players crowded around bulky monitors to play on local area networks. Mainstream culture actively dismissed the activity. Spending hours at a computer aiming for high scores was widely categorized by parents and educators as an unproductive hobby or a massive waste of time. Beyond the social stigma, a rigid economic barrier kept the scene small. Competitive gaming required high-end processors, dedicated graphics cards, and expensive peripherals, putting the necessary hardware entirely out of reach for the vast majority of the population. That rigid barrier dissolved with the widespread availability of cheap data and mobile-first battle royale games. Users could suddenly bypass the PC entirely and drop into competitive lobbies using the inexpensive smartphones they already owned. By lowering the entry cost to almost zero, this accessibility shift converted gaming from an expensive, localized niche into a demographic powerhouse overnight. This chart visualizes the audience surge. The flat historical data spikes exponentially, reflecting an ecosystem supporting over 650 million Indian gamers. Economically, this audience validated the industry. Top mobile players quickly commanded massive salaries and sponsorships that outpaced traditional entry-level careers. The ultimate institutional validation arrived when the Indian government and the Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports officially recognized esports as a legitimate sporting category, granting gamers the same legal standing as traditional athletes. The online viewership materialized into physical scale. Major organizations began renting out massive stadiums, packing the stands with roaring crowds and production values that rivaled major cricket tournaments. Yet, beneath the millions of dollars in venture capital and official government recognition, the entire ecosystem relies on a single point of failure: one flagship mobile game. When a single title monopolizes an entire industry's attention and capital, it creates an economic monoculture. The market becomes reliant on one set of conditions to survive. This funnel demonstrates that dependency. Major organizations and venture capital firms require immediate return on investment, directing resources exclusively toward the largest audience. Aspiring talent must chase this singular payout, leaving alternative game genres starved of resources and attention. As a result of this intense centralization, India's PC and console competitive scenes were heavily neglected, leaving vast sections of the gaming landscape desolate and unsupported. Building a national industry around the immediate return of a single product creates a highly fragile structure. The foundation is only as stable as the game sitting on top of it. That stability faced a severe real-world stress test when sudden regulatory hurdles and App Store suspensions deleted the flagship mobile game from the market overnight. The immediate economic shockwave paralyzed major esports organizations. Without their primary competitive title, their sole source of viewership data and sponsorship leverage instantly vanished. The athletes and content creators absorbed the direct impact. Players faced frozen salaries, organizers canceled high-profile tournaments, and competitors realized their professional careers were dictated by factors outside their control. The crisis exposed the reality of the situation. India's massive esports boom was a single product boom, leaving the industry exposed to specific market shocks. A structural model where a billion-dollar government-recognized ecosystem can be effectively erased by a single regulatory update is inherently flawed. Looking at mature, global esports markets provides a clear contrast. International organizations specifically structure their economies to withstand this exact type of industry turbulence. This outlines the diversified portfolio concept. Instead of routing capital into one game, global organizations spread investments evenly across multiple titles. If one game crashes, the remaining nodes expand to absorb the shock, allowing the organization to survive. In the Indian model, the stark lack of an active, heavily supported PC or console ecosystem makes deploying this specific safety net physically impossible. Organizations have nowhere else to pivot their rosters. Absolute isolation from globally established multi-title ecosystems acts as a hard ceiling, severely restricting the region's ability to operate as a true global esports superpower. India's flagship mobile title served as the necessary pioneer, proving to parents, sponsors, and the government that competitive gaming could function as a professional career. The unmatched accessibility of smartphones successfully laid the bedrock for a passionate, massive gaming audience that simply did not exist 10 years ago. To secure the future, the industry requires an urgent pivot. Fans, sponsors, and brands must intentionally support diverse titles to share the industry's load. This requires shared responsibility. Game developers need to actively invest in local tournaments, and the government must help provide the infrastructure needed to foster a truly multi-genre competitive space. The mobile pioneer successfully poured the concrete foundation. The true test moving forward is whether the Indian esports industry is finally ready to build the rest of the house.